welcome to our Psyc1025 presentation on the topic Communication and Conflict Resolution. In this presentation, we'll firstly give a brief overview of the topic and explain why we think it is an important issue to discuss before introducing our two relevant theories and its empirical evidence. We will then examine a case study to demonstrate our understanding of the topic. Communication can be defined as a process by which information is transmitted and understood between two people. This process of sharing meaning is an essential tool in the workplace, as effective communication assists in developing and maintaining the organization's culture, helps build workplace relationship, facilitates knowledge management, and enhances the quality of decision making. Conflict resolution, on the other hand, is the process of managing disputes and disagreements through compromise or through the assistance of a third party who either facilitates or imposes settlement or resolution. The aim of this process is to alter the level and form of conflict to maximize its benefits and minimize negative consequences. Effective conflict resolution can assist in reducing existing tensions, facilitate collaboration, and in turn improve existing workplace relationships, enable more objective decision making, and lastly, encourage innovative thinking for proposed solutions. So why is this an important topic to discuss? Conflict is inevitable and is bound to occur in the workplace. Thus, it is important for companies to understand that conflict resolution is a necessary component in maintaining and fostering a healthy work environment. Companies need to know how to approach conflict in the workplace in order to effectively resolve the issue. To achieve this, it is important to note the correlation between communication and conflict resolution. Effective communication facilitates conflict resolution as it allows firms to understand the need and wants of each party, allows parties to involve to understand the root of the problem, and enables parties to come to a conclusion and resolve the issue. Concern theory suggests that in conflict management, there needs to be a balance between concern meeting the individual's own goals and the concern for self. How an individual manages conflict may vary according to the level of this balance. The styles of conflict management include collaboration, which entails the individual to search for middle ground of concern in order to solve the problem at hand, achieving a win-win orientation. Competition, whereby the individual becomes dominant, having a high concern for self and low concern for others. Avoidance, which involves the individual becoming passive as they have a low concern for both self and others. There is also compromise, which asserts both assertiveness and empathy, as the individual has a high concern for both self and others as they try to achieve conciliation. And lastly, accommodation, which involves the individual to yield from the problem as they have a low concern for self but a high concern for others. Principal negotiation theory is based on the book Getting to Yes by Roger Fisher and Bill Urey. This theory or approach sees negotiation as a key aspect of conflict resolution and the importance of effective communication when resolving conflict. The main goal of this approach is for parties to come to a mutually shared outcome, giving a win-win orientation. The four central guidelines to this approach is separating people from the problem so that negotiation is free from the influence of emotions and individuals involved, focusing on the negotiating parties' interests, not their positions, generating different options that propose mutual gain before settling on an agreement, and basing the outcome from the negotiation on objective criteria.
I will now go on to look at some of the empirical research that uses the first theory that Selina addressed earlier, the dual concern theory. Conflict is defined culturally, and consequently managing styles can vary depending on location. Zhen Tong in 2007 looked at 200 Chinese undergraduates in negotiation simulations to investigate the nature of conflict styles in China. Participants took part in 3 simulations. Before each one, there was a period of 30 minutes where they were briefed on the simulation and where they had to fill out a questionnaire. The questionnaire was based on the 5 aspects relevant to the dual concern theory: competition, compromise, collaboration, avoidance, and accommodation, and involved 30 statements describing different responses to conflict. Examples of the responses included phrases like, "I will try to win my position," or "I sometimes sacrifice my own wishes for the wishes of others." It was found that the mean scores of the questionnaire revealed a clear preference for compromising styles. Interestingly, competing styles was rated second. Though perhaps more research is needed, it is an interesting finding that in this case, participants were more concerned with overall social harmony, supporting the notion that collectivist culture such as China tends to use a non-confrontational style when dealing with conflict.
I will now talk about a research by Shogan Zhang in 2016, which looks at principled negotiation theory. His aim was to compare the Chinese harmony thought with the principled negotiation theory. Nowadays, many researchers study the differences of cross-cultural negotiation. These results help people to understand the differences in Chinese culture and Western cultures. However, the connection with negotiation under Chinese culture and foreign negotiation, especially Western countries, is rarely discussed. Chinese harmony refers to harmony among human, nature, and society. In this case, they indicate it is human beings, nature, mutual understanding, friendship, and oneness. Zhang found two major connections between Chinese harmony and principled negotiation. One of them is the values in achieving final goal. In the Chinese harmony perspective, the ultimate objective of negotiation is to set up equilibrium and harmony, while for principled negotiation, it is to achieve win-win result. Another connection is the way of solving problem. For Chinese harmony, insist on using objective criteria means using rules to solve the problem. While for principled negotiation, every individual must play his or her part well. This study gives theoretical support that the Chinese harmony thought is connected to the principled negotiation theory. It explains why Chinese businessmen negotiate effectively with foreign businessmen because both sides of the parties are connected in terms of problem solving.
Facebook is a social media networking site created by Mark Zuckerberg in 2004, which allows users to post, create, and share content with other users online. Staff of Facebook communicate via email, text, Facebook messages, and instant messages. Additionally, every Friday, CEO Mark Zuckerberg conducts a meeting with all Facebook staff to update them on upcoming projects, the company's position, and any relevant news that needs to be relayed to staff. If we look at the dual concern theory and how Facebook utilizes this to resolve conflict in the workplace, there are two key examples that are evident. The first approach is collaborative and involves taking the incentive out of climbing the ladder. Most workplaces encourage healthy competition amongst co-workers for promotions and management roles, which depending on the company and environment can quickly become overly competitive and hostile. So rather than managers being there to tell teams what to do, they are there to guide and support their team. As a result of this, Facebook manages to avoid conflict in their management style and diminish work politics. Secondly, the next approach is through accommodation, whereby all staff are to remain transparent and open with one another. Immediately addressing conflict in the workplace creates a middle ground to appease both parties. Frequent question and answer sessions with leadership and engagement surveys are another platform which are utilized by Facebook, as this creates a network of knowledge and transparency throughout the company and also offers staff the opportunity to ask questions themselves. Engagement surveys and question and answer sessions clearly show how Facebook utilized the dual concern theory to keep their employees happy.
Conflict in the workplace is inevitable. Take, for example, a disgruntled employee who attributes recent problems in the workplace to the selfish interests of a team leader. Facebook have trained their leaders on how to engage and resolve conflicts like these in a method quite similar to principled negotiations. First, the leader begins by getting to the core of what the employee feels the problem is. This is done through simple probing questions such as, "Why do you think that? Can you tell me more about this problem?" With this established, the leader will begin to brainstorm with the employee other potential reasons why this has occurred, effectively removing themselves emotionally from the argument. Finally, with contextual evidence, the employee will come to a more reasonable and objective conclusion. In the workplace, what can be attributed to malice usually is a result of incompetence or poor communication. Something important to note is that Facebook creates and maintains an environment which allows for principled negotiations to occur. This is achieved in a few ways. First, Q&A sessions are held weekly, with CEO Mark Zuckerberg and other heads of staff. This allows for transparency between the company and its employees, as well as creating a platform for discussion and ideas. Second, Facebook welcomes complaints. If someone feels there is wrongdoing or a problem that needs to be handled, employees are encouraged to speak out to a manager about the situation. This direct method of conflict resolution helps to stop problems from festering and growing to something more unmanageable. Finally, Facebook looks into and acts on information obtained from engagement surveys. Through creating an environment of open discussion, as well as demonstrating the company's willingness to listen and act upon information, Facebook has created a workplace which helps to limit conflict and help people engage conflict in a more civil and objective manner.
In conclusion, the takeaway message from the theories and research suggests that when companies are faced with conflict in the workplace, they should make sure they have an effective communication method in place, one that considers the cultural diversity of their employees. The company positions could be designed so people are not competing with each other, but working together on the same level towards the same goal. Furthermore, if conflict does arise, there could be a go-to person who helps them deal with it, addressing the conflict quickly by helping those involved remove themselves emotionally from the argument while considering the other person's point of view.